Hello, hello, and welcome to another Fruma Yap session. Um, yeah, so recently, like on the fucking Friday, so that was like, yeah, at the end of fucking February, Salted decided to post this, a second update on Fruma, which has given a lot of information in this forum post and in the video itself. However, before we get to that, I need to do some catching up because there's some things that I forgot to mention or just I've just realized them. So, first up, just after I released the previous video, I was actually able to connect these two maps because of this one tower, which is actually visible from the Recover the Past Esprin cutscene. And so, this is the full Esprin map, at least from everything we've seen. Here's the entrance. There's a potion merchant next to a scroll merchant, which I only realized it's a scroll merchant because of the carpet inside. There's the powder master, trade market, bank, identifier, blacksmith. Then you walk a bit and find the weapon merchant and probably the armor merchant at some point. Crafting stations are probably hidden because I cannot see any in the trailer for the life of me. And I I honestly I wouldn't mind if they were hidden. Like they're just a nice or in other towns. Um, Another thing in the teaser and in the cutscene where we see Esprin, we can actually see bricks, stone brick blocks. Now, the funny thing about stone bricks and their top texture is that it's locked in place in a certain rotation, which means if we can see the top of a stone brick, we can tell in which direction the build is facing. And so this isn't where I think it's placed. However, this is how it's rotated in terms of the entire map. So it's interesting, like these walls are blocking off Esprin. Like if it's like here, it's blocking off from the gate and leading up out from the gate. If it's like here, no, that wouldn't make sense because it's next to this. I mean, I guess it could make sense. Like this rotation allows for way more options to guess where it's placed. Like it, it discredits ideas like this or like this or like this. So that's interesting. And the fact that the walls were quickly put together, they looked hastily made, that's an interesting idea. Maybe something happened. Excuse me. Maybe something happened and they had to block off Esprin and Alburn from a certain section of Fruma. I mean, around here it could make sense, I guess. Besides, like, to the east, apparently to the east, we see mountains or hills. There are waterfalls visible from the east, very little that we've seen, so I don't know, like here it could make sense, I guess. But yeah. And one last thing for this catch up. Between the teaser's release and this video releasing, patch notes for an update on the 7th have released. The most important part about this is that the Relos library is, one, being rebuilt, which is cool, and two, misinformation has been removed. Now, I'll go... It's obvious why, it's obvious what, but I'll tell you later when the talking point comes up. Just remember, Relos, the lore we learned from it, not 100% correct. So, yeah, don't go talking about the Kaishi. So, the forum posts. From it, we learned that the major source of Fruma's power is split, although serving the queen. I'll talk a lot more about the sovereigns later, as there's a lot to talk about them. But first, let's however look at these images on the top and on the bottom. Now, if you actually put them together, like if you save them and put them together, they actually form one cohesive image. However, if you save those images and look at the file names, you learn the name Toran. So this place, which has the same style of like terrain texturing, and you can literally see the Imperial Gate back here. This is probably right after the gate, which is insane. And also we know the name of it, Toran. However, Esprin is still said to be the first major town that we explore in Fruma. So, what is Toran? Well, one of the things we see a lot in Wynn and in Gavel is barracks. You know, the Almash barracks, the barracks in the Canyon of the Lost. It would make sense for Fruma to have its own barracks, to have its own military outpost, and to have it right at the gates. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you've seen how much defense Fruma has. Like, yeah, barracks next to the gates would make logical sense. So, this brings into question, did they lie? Or is Fruma going to be similar in experience to Silent Expanse, where you have to explore several regions of it before you reach the first, or in the term, when it comes to Silent Expanse, the only town of the major region? I wouldn't be against that, but then again, it's weird. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Now, speaking of the gate, let's go to the teaser here, and we can literally see, yeah, a lot more of the rebuild of the gate. There's this huge tower here. And we even see inside of it. Now we see the player characters moving inside of it, through it, and then reaching the bridge, which we've already seen. But the build has changed. The little we've seen of it has changed. Take it from me, who has overanalyzed the gate image. This has changed a lot. First of all, the statues are more decorated. They're no longer made of just solid blocks. There's stairs and slabs, and there's way more detail. Like, look at this dress. Look at the dress on the statue, and then compare it to here. Way more detailed. Like, holy shit! The build team has been cooking. Then, where is it? Yeah. The walls here, next to the water level, they're no longer like big bricks, which is sad a bit. I mean, this look is like what my mind thinks of when it thinks the Fruma Imperial Gate, but I could live with this. It's easier to recreate, if anything. Around the start also, the gate seems to be a lot taller. Like this area, like look at this area and then compare it to here. Like, yeah, that shed is taller. I mean, yeah, this overhang felt a bit unbalanced with how like this just ends. Which like, why did you show this off in such an unfinished state? I mean, yeah, I guess it makes sense why you'd show it off, but like, damn, it was really unfinished. And like, you can also see in this image of Toran, you can actually see that part of the gate, these quartz pillars, and this extension of like stone bricks. You can see it here too. So yeah, the build has improved, which on one hand I love that. On the other, I've already recreated the Fruma Gate as we've seen it from this image, and so I feel a bit crushed. But I mean, at least we get more scenes of it. I can recreate it more closely. So, right in this tower, you can actually see some wall art. Now, if you pull up the diagrams here, we can see 4 distinct pieces of art. Now, the tower itself seems to be an octagon, and these two, at least these 2 areas, we know have a decoration, so it's not out of the picture. It's not a wild theory to throw out that these 2 sides are also decorations like that and aren't depicting anything. So that's interesting. What we have depicted right now is the thing we know most about, a dark tree with red, orange, and yellow that seems to represent Auburn, the forest in which Esprin is located in. So that's interesting. It's already depicting a region of Fruma that we know exists. So this sets the precedent that whatever else is represented here is either a region or a distinct part of Fruma. Given the fact that the other 2 images that we see, these are the best screenshots I could get from the video, are another type of forest, which I think is either like a swampy, like flooded forest, or a redwood forest. Might be a combination of the 2, which could be cool. And farmyards, like windmills and fields of like plants and crops. This specifically ties in to how Fruma seems to be self-sufficient with, like, it always exports both produce and people, but it never imports. So, like, it has to be really self-sustaining. So it would make sense that, like, in some way, right at the entrance, it would showcase that it's self-sufficient like that, to show its sheer power to anyone else who's brave enough to visit the gate. And then we have mountains. I mean, yeah, we know that mountains are going to exist because, you know, the borders around the region usually are mountains, but like, it won't be very mountainous, and the other arts seem to be depicting regions of Fruma, so that's weird that a mountain has been picked to be depicted here, alongside a sun, either like rising up or setting down above the mountains. This could have like, this goes into a theory that I've heard that like Fruma, the Queen of Fruma or whoever, has like balanced a yin yang between light and dark and has created twilight, and maybe this is meant to represent twilight in some shape or form. But like, that's wild speculation. I have no idea. I mean, it could work, I guess. It would work with the fact that like Win is the negative side of light and dark, and so Fruma would be the good side of light and dark, you know, clashing. That could be interesting. Also, the fact that Fruma comes between, like, right between the Dern questline, like, between the road to Dern and Dern itself, we just go to Fruma for some reason. It has to have some relation to the War of the Realms. There has to be some connection, so this could be something. Also, as I was making this diagram, the fountain that we see here with this spire and water, if you draw them out or like look at it from above, combined with like these three bridges over here, it kind of looks like the eye, which is weird. At this point in the story, we would have killed the eye, so its influence wouldn't be felt. So, that's interesting. Maybe it's the Dern Beast's second eye? We don't know. We genuinely don't know. I want to see what this means, or if it means anything. Right, what's next on the bullet points? Right. The Sovereigns. Oh, the Sovereigns. So, Fruma's overwhelming power. One of the major sources of it. The Sovereigns. One of them. So, relating back to the patch notes about the Relos library, these guys are replacing the Kaishi. The Sovereigns are replacing the Royal Guards of Fruma. So, yeah, that's nice. It's no longer an Avatar reference, which I'm glad. It means that they're taking this a bit seriously and don't want media references. Now, the video is named The Sixth Sovereign, which is one of the sovereigns that we learn of. From the video, we can see archers, and we can see like swordsmen, and then obviously like the person who I guess opens the gates, the presumably, and what I'm going to assume, the leader of the 6th sovereign. Now, there's definitely ranks within this like group. Like this is the leader. The way like these guys, these swordsmen act, it makes you think that they're like the lowest rank. Then there's like the archers, which feel like they're a rank higher. That could be interesting. Also, something to note about them is the plumes on their helmets. They have white haired. The leader is like white haired, and the soldiers have white plumes on their helmet, which is interesting. Also, something that I've actually forgotten in the catch up. In the Aspirin teaser, we actually see like 2 NPCs that seem to be quests related to quests. This one and this one. It has white hair, a similar shade to the leader of the sovereigns, of the 6th sovereign. So that's interesting, but now that I look at it, yeah, no, it has a slight blue tint, yeah. They could be related. They could be related, which is interesting. Also on the topic of the leader of the 6th sovereign, they wear gera, traditional Japanese shoe wear, leg wear, whatever it's called, which furthers the Eastern Asian theme that all of Fruma is going for. They're also wearing these weird like waist guards, or like I don't know what this is. It's really unique compared to the armor of the rest of the guards. They also have this butterflies like symbol, which like further makes it further pushes the idea that the butterflies are an important symbol for Fruma, which is interesting to theorize about. I mean, it shows up on the guards, on the leader's armor. It shows up on the flags. Look at that. It shows up on the fucking graffiti at the end, which I'm going to talk about later. So clearly, also for both teasers, at the end we've had butterflies appear. Clearly, butterflies are an important symbol for Fruma, so that's important to keep note of. Also about the guards, these guards seem to like look at these guards, like these guards aren't positioned, they're like stiff and steady, ready to serve. These guys are just hanging out. Like this guy especially is just like napping or something, I guess. And these guys are just chill, just looking at you almost expectedly. That could be something to think about. But when the gate opens, they take their position and take their proper form because the leader of the 6th region comes to them. So, yeah, they weren't expecting the leader, but they maybe were expecting you. They clearly weren't like... The archers are on guard when you approach, but these guards that are literally right in front of the gate, they're just chilling. They're just chill like that. It could be just because they're a lower rank, but it could also just be that, you know, your presence in Fruma isn't going to be illegal. You know, maybe you're invited to Fruma. Maybe the Fruma Queen wants you there. But But something weird about that is that someone is determined to keep the secrets buried deep inside. With this being included with the introduction of the sixth sovereign, it makes me think that not only are they border patrol for people going in or out, but also information patrol, which is interesting. So, who knows? Also, the leader appears right when we appear, so that's interesting. So, the sovereigns are a group, but what does that entail? Like, yeah, there we go. They're a group. There's apparently 6 of them, since it's a sixth. Why, if the sixth sovereign is guarding the gate, then wouldn't that mean there's 5 sovereigns inside of Fruma? And if the sixth sovereign is controlling the gate, a region of Fruma still, does this mean that if there's 6 sovereigns, there's 6 regions? And maybe, since Aspirin is the first town the first major town we explore in Fruma, maybe the 5th sovereign looks over Auburn, Aspirin, maybe even the district slums. Maybe they're just one region altogether. I mean, I wouldn't rule out that the district slums are some other place, but like Aspirin and the Auburn Forest, they're said to be the poorest region. And I don't know about you, but looking at the cutscene of the district slums, it feels really poor. So it might be in the poorest region too. But probably not connected, because the build styles are very vastly different. Well, we'll have to see. Maybe it's part of the factory district. Well, if the 6th sovereign is looking over the gate, would that mean the 1st sovereign is looking over the capital? Or is like the royal, it's the actual royal guard, the proper royal guard that looks over the castle and the queen and such? That could be cool. However, if the gate art is meant to represent regions, then there's one left? Like, Region 1 gate, Region 2 Aspirin Auburn, Region 3 farmyards, Region 4 another fucking forest, Region 5 mountains, and then the 6th region is just kind of left up in the air. That, that's based on the idea that like the mountains are meant to be a whole region, but like we've been told that Fruma isn't mountainous like Silent Expanse. But that just could mean that there are mountains that are full of content, unlike the fucking valley walls of the Silent Expanse. It's weird. It's weird. Now, it could be possible, I'm not ruling it out, but there could be more regions and there could be more sovereigns. That could be a possibility. I don't think about that. I don't like that. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that idea, but I wouldn't like if we enter Fruma and there's a 7th sovereign, 8th, 9th, whatever, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be rioting. Another thing that I remembered about Fruma that I forgot to include in the first video, but that now feels a bit fitting to mention. The cave leaks. Last year, there was an update that also pushed an attack for Annihilation, the big bridge laser, but it was broken at launch. I mean, it wasn't even launch, it was like pushed. Well, it wasn't finished. Well, in the patch that brought you that, there was also leaks of 2 caves. They're they don't give much information, but what they do give is interesting. They take place in around this corner of Fruma, and it confirms that level 110 at least is a content level similar to like 103 and 104. So that's interesting. At least, so we now have an actual, like, a bigger or like a tighter margin of when the level cap is going to end. We know it won't go past 120. And we know that it starts from 105. So that makes it like either Fruma adds 5 or 15 levels. So that's interesting. 15 content levels, not like 106 is like an Easter egg level. It's not like a proper level that the game wants you to reach right now. Like you can reach it, but like it's not. You know what I mean? It's not. It's not a. It's not canon. And so like, if maybe if 120 is the final content level, maybe 121 is going to be the Easter egg level, similar to 106 right now. Who knows? We have to wait and see. So, the caves. We have 2 caves in this corner. Let me get the red to mark them. We have Water Tower. The Water Authority warns people to not get near a tower at X coordinates. And Subterranean. Failed rail line. I can't fucking speak. Failed rail lines are now home to something best kept a secret. Now, Water Tower is level 108, and Subterranean is level 110, which, you know, the fucking content level thing. The Water Authority? Excuse me? Who are they? Who is this Water Authority? And given that it came like a while before we got the sovereigns, maybe this Water Authority are a sovereign? Maybe they control how much and who gets water? Maybe the region that they're controlling is poor in natural resources. I mean, if that's the case, it would contrast Esperant's heap of natural resources that we've been told from the fucking forum post, the first forum post. Instead of monetary riches, they're rich in natural resources, yeah. And given that, you know, Fruma is self-sufficient, they're a pretty old province. They're bound to have like exhausted some of their resources in some regions. So it would make sense if they like have this one area that like is so starved of resources that the authority that looks over that region has to ration out water and tells people, no, 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 don't get near the place where we have all the water. We need to save it for everyone else, you know? Or maybe maybe the region is starved, purposely starved of resources, and they're like, no, 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 we don't want you giving out resources to the general populace. So that's interesting. And then there's subterranean, failed rail lines, home to something best kept a secret. What? We've heard now twice about Fruma wanted to keep something secret. This is 2 layers in. What the fuck? So, what is this secret? Corruption? Poor infrastructure? Pollution? We we don't know. My guess is as good as yours. But it's failed rail lines. Where else have we seen rail lines? Proper rail lines? The Karak Quarry, the mine near Levigar. So maybe this has connections to the factories that Cade talks about? Maybe this is in the factory region. Maybe this is in the same region as the Water Authority. I mean, if it was the factory region and there was an authority that was controlling natural resources, that would make sense in my opinion. So, yeah, that could be cool. We only learned about these 2 caves, and we weren't meant to learn about them. They were accidentally pushed to the live server at some point. So of course they wouldn't have vital information that we would need. Consider caves like fucking Pigman Barbecue or the corrupted salted Jumla and Gregan cave in Win. Some caves just don't have significance. They're just meant to be caves for the sake of being caves. So that's weird. We don't know the lore significance of these. It's clearly not too significant, but it's also not too not significant. I forgot the words. Insignificant, significant, yeah. It definitely has they definitely have some importance. The water tower one definitely has some connections to the area that it's in. And the rail lines sound like they connect they also connect to whatever's happening in that region. I I I generally think this area is the factory district. The factories that Cade talks about in Recover the Past. So that's interesting. It it would make sense why this region would be starved of natural resources to the point where they have to ration out water. But we don't know if they have to. It's just assumptions that I'm making. So we don't know. Maybe the water tower is empty. Maybe it's just an old structure that is bound to collapse anytime soon. And that's why they warn people to not go near it. Who fucking knows? But it is called the water tower. And it is said to be guarded by the water authority. So I'm led to believe it's a natural resource starved region. And with failed rail lines that are home to something best kept a secret? That to me sounds either like a grander problem of Fruma or a problem of that region itself. Maybe it's super polluted, or it's a similar situation to the Groot slangs where they've been mining out, similar to where the area under the surface is hollowed out and it's bound to fall. Who knows? Who knows? They're also like very close to the mountains, like especially the water tower. I think it was like around here when I looked at it, like in relation to the online map. So that's very weird. Very, very, very weird. So we'll have to wait and see for that until the beta, since I don't think we're gonna get more cave content. Especially with like how it's said that this second update on Fruma is going to be the last one. Unless there's like delays. Yeah, assuming no delays, this will be your final Fruma teaser. I am so excited. I'm so excited for this bullshit. I think you can tell how excited I am from the fact I've talked this long about it and recreated like 2 builds that we've seen from it. So, let's talk about this goober. So, I've taken the full image and brightened it up a bit. We have this person sitting in a dark room. We don't know where this is. Sound cues from the end of the video make me think subway station? Like rail line? Maybe it connects to the cave? Maybe it's next to the gate. I mean, the whole video was about the gate. Why would they just plop down this area which is nowhere near it? Now, who is this? I mean, given the spray cans and graffiti all around them, it could be that they drew it. Now, this thing, this graffiti right above them, people are fucking stupid. Nah. Some people think that it spells out numbers like 6 to 8. How? I mean, look at this. How is this a 2? How is this a 6? I mean, I guess if this area confuses you and you don't see the border here, or like if you haven't seen graffiti in real life, or don't know that people really love just scratching their name on places, like, I was here, I existed, look at my name. Fucking Kilroy was here from World War II. Kilroy, a tag. Why do people think these are numbers? I think this spells out Seb, a graffiti artist's tag, their name or nickname. This is Seb. I think, maybe. Yeah. We have like the Fruma flag symbol, their tag with their name, and this weird frog thing. I have no idea what it is. It has these weird gold and pink goggles. If it was a frog, it would relate to Esprin and how it has like frog statues, I guess. Also, like, hold on. Do frogs eat butterflies? Frogs are known to consume butterflies. So, I just realized that. That's interesting. Maybe that's the like symbol of the rebellion, right? So, are they responsible for join the fight? I mean, maybe not them. Maybe they're a part of a rebellion that made join the fight. But then why would they be rebelling towards joining a fight while also drawing the butterfly that's meant to represent Fruma? Are I'm getting mixed signals here. Do they love Fruma? Are they patriotic but feel like something is gone wrong with like the monarchy? And maybe they want to make a fight and telling people to join that fight against the monarchy? I mean, that that sure is a war within the Furman walls. But I don't know. We have no idea what this means. Also, like right near the end, we hear someone approaching Seb. They're like kicking cans and like I wonder what's happening. Also, the sound used at the end. Let me actually play it. That whirring like drone sound up, that's like a metro, which further makes me think that this is like some sort of rail line station. Like a station at the gate, that makes sense, and since nobody uses the gate, it makes sense that it's abandoned, and why a young vandal would be spraying their tags and other art here. You know? That could be fun. Also, the person kicking the cans and approaching Seb, that could be us. That could be the sixth sovereign, some other guard. Who knows? I personally think it's the player, but in the video it's 3 people that are representing the players. And here we only hear one set of footsteps, so we don't know. It doesn't sound like stomping, it doesn't sound the sound of them walking. You don't hear like it doesn't sound like somebody with armor approaching you. It sounds like just a regular person. And given like how the player character stand-ins, well, except the warrior one, I guess, is like just wearing clothes, no armor. It could be the player. It's probably the player. I have no idea what's the deal with Seb or their rebellion or what the fuck the frog and the butterfly mean. But it's interesting. I mean, the fact that frogs eat butterflies and maybe this is a frog, that could be interesting to theorize about. Now, the thing that most people are drawn towards from this teaser, Fruma 2025. You know, I've been saying Fruma tomorrow for a while now. Fruma this year, in this year, hypothetically, that makes me so excited and so giddy. I was fucking losing my mind when this was uploaded. I, I can't fucking wait. So, releases. So, from previous updates, we know that the release order goes along like this: teaser, trailer, beta, release. Usually the gap between the teaser and the trailer is the most long and the most dependent on internal fucking business, on how far along with content they are. I mean, there is a possibility that like they could be very close to finishing but not finished and make a trailer and post it and work on the update a little bit more before they push out the beta. And so like I expect the time between the trailer and now to be the longest part, the part that takes most of the year. Probably around summer we're gonna see a trailer, maybe like August. Hopefully around August you would have either already seen or just seen the trailer. Then trailer and beta gap. Uh, During the update cycle for 2.1, the rekindled update, the gap between the trailer and the beta release was really short, very short in comparison to everything else, and especially the fucking beta to release period. That was 1 month, too little to like finish testing everything. And given that Fruma has so much content to test, I definitely think that the beta is going to last a little bit longer, and at some point it's going to be opened to everyone. Now, I'm not saying this so I could sell my silverbull shares for a lot of money, but buy silverbull shares if you don't have hero or champion, because Fruma will have a hero beta, and it is going to be a lot of stuff. You want to look at it before you get spoiled. Get a share so you can get the subscription and play Fruma as soon as possible. I'm going to be using all of my shares to play Fruma. Right. So, teaser to trailer gap around summer, up to summer, maybe late fall at the worst, if there's like issues. I mean, there's definitely a chance that the trailer could drop like around spring. I mean, we're just in March. That's really early in the year. We just like we're still in quarter 1. There's a lot of the year left to get through. There's definitely a chance that quarter 2 we could see a trailer. Quarter 3 beta, or hopefully thinking quarter 2 beta could be a possibility, but I doubt it. I think around fall we're gonna have the beta. At earliest possible, if like the trailer is shown off in spring, at earliest August or July, we're gonna have the beta. And then, since there's so much to test, I think that the full release of 2.2 Fruma, the Fruma province, is going to be around the end of quarter 3, start of quarter 4, or mid quarter 4, like maybe around like September, October, maybe earlier if nothing goes wrong. Hopefully. So, I'm excited. I'm really excited. And like the amount of content that we have to test, like I have a list here. So like we're gonna a whole new region with caves, a level increase with new weapons and armor and accessories of all rarities. Like that's already enough content in my opinion to warrant 1 month of testing at a minimum. And not to mention the potential skill or ability point increase, the potential of new abilities, like page 8 of the ability tree, the new materials, the profession materials, and profession ingredients. And there has to be a new dungeon to give out the new tier 13 tools for the new material tiers. There has to be a new raid. There has to be a new Lutron camp. You know, you have to consider the current end game. Consider they have to keep up what they have as the current end game and push it into Fruma. Since they've been working so hard on raids and Lutrons, it wouldn't make sense that they wouldn't appear in Fruma. And the first ever like Fruma post talks about like the content gaps when Gabo was first released. They don't want to do that. Where is it said exactly? The Gabo province also originally came out with clear content gaps, a lot of content gaps, which we don't plan to do with Fruma, which means that not only is new endgame stuff going to be introduced, but old endgame things are going to be introduced. And who knows what new endgame activities are going to be introduced. Also, with the new raid, there comes the possibility of new tomes, new aspects, which is insane. They also need to reintroduce back the fucking major buffs from tomes that we had from 120 and 120 from Gal Reborn and Spellbound. The like, obviously they're removing the flat damage buff against enemies and flat resistance against enemies. Those stats are gone, but stuff like walk speed, like gather experience, those things still need to come back in some form, which probably new endgame is going to the new endgame in Fruma is going to introduce. I just saw something. Hold the phone. No. Hold on. No, that's just blue. Okay. I thought we were able to see like very, very early Fruma stuff there, but nah. I'm going fucking insane about this place. One last thing that I would like to point out. Fruma starts at 105. The last quest we have is for 103, A Hunter's Calling. Are we gonna get a 104 quest? I mean, we were told that like the Fruma update was going to have content for every other level, but then you have to consider back then when this post was made and like the earliest information about Fruma was made public, Rekindled World 2.1 wasn't a consideration. Everything that was part of Rekindled World was going to be part of Fruma. It was going to be part of the Fruma update. And just because a lot of things were happening for Rekindled World, a lot of things were just happening, a lot of things were building up. It was so much content, they had to, like, they felt the need to separate out things and push them in a separate patch before Fruma. So maybe that's the content that would have been for other levels that would have come with Fruma. I don't know. I would love to see a 104 quest, but I don't know where it would take place. I mean, it could be a prelude to Fruma. Prelude to Frumulation. It could be another Sky Island quest, it could be a Molten Heights quest, it could be another Silent Expanse quest, but given that we're going to have Dern, and given that we already have enough quests for the Silent Expanse Like, yeah, I would like more quests for the Silent Expanse, but like, I don't know what you could like center those quests around. You could have another fucking nothing burger of the Olmic rune, the fucking tall outer quest. That could happen again, but like, I'd rather like see another quest in like the Molten Heights, which other than the dwarves and dogons has 0 quests. Okay, like other than quest lines, the Molten Heights has no content, no story content. It sucks. So I would love to see a quest in there for something. Maybe about the fucking phoenix poachers, the dragonlings. There we go. The dragonling egg poachers. That could be fun. I mean, the Upper Molten Heights is very dry in terms of content. You only got like professions. You also do a bit of part 1, part 2, and part 4 of Dwarves and Dogons there. But like in part 4, you're just in a quest area. You're not in the actual upper heights. You're just fighting the war in a separate version of the build. But like the other half of the heights is not used. It's very rarely used. It's barely used in like Lutrons and caves. So I would love to see it get a bit more love. Especially with how like it's not even built. It's still fucking using the old build style. It's still using noise texturing. I hate it. I hate it. Yeah. A 104 quest around the Molten Heights or Sky Islands or whatever, that would be fun to like help the leveling process to 105 to Fruma. Since like I don't know about you, but I don't like the fact that mob grinding, especially in the end game, is the only way you can level up easily. Like, yeah, raids, dungeons exist and they give XP, but like they can't compare to the dumb but effective XP gain of mob grinding. And I would really love for that to be for mob grinding to not be as incentivized, which is why I would love a 104 quest. Maybe we could have one right now, since 105 is still a content level. Some items require you to be 105. Some tomes require you to be level 105. So, and the only way to reach level 105 is to mob grind. A Hunter's Calling gets you halfway through 103. To 104 you have to mob grind or grind dungeons or raid, but it's easier to just mob grind, and then all of 104 to 105 is just mob grinding. Okay, I just went on a huge tangent right now. This is about Fruma 2025 quarter 3 beta are my predictions. How long have I been going for? An hour. Perfect. Goodbye.